Hey guys, this is Tim. This is my wife Heather, and we're coming to you from our living room here in Knoxville. We just want to take a minute to share a quick story with you. Today is February the 19th, and in our family, that's a pretty important day. 15 years ago today, an event happened to our family that changed the lives of our family forever. We just want to take a minute to kind of share with you that journey. It was a Sunday evening in 2006, and we had been to church that night. Afterwards, we went to have dinner with some dear friends of ours. After dinner, it's time to go home. Heather and I had taken separate vehicles because since I work at the church, I had to be there earlier. And our then 4-year-old daughter, Kaitlin, was in the car with Heather. We left the restaurant, we came to a red light, and Heather was the first car at the red light. Then there were 2 other cars, and then me. I was 3 cars behind them. And the light turned green, Heather went across the road, and I heard an incredible explosion. I'll never forget that sound. I looked up and I saw Heather's car bouncing down Kingston Pike, and it came to rest in a grassy area. She and Kaitlin had been hit on the passenger side by a drunk driver. There were 3 gentlemen in the vehicle. All 3 were twice the legal limit. They hit Heather, according to the police reports, 70 miles an hour without any braking. It actually ended up killing one of the gentlemen in the other vehicle. I got to the car. The other sound I'll never forget from that night was the sound of Kaitlin screaming. I got to her first. She was in the back strapped in. She had a few little cuts for some glass, but she was fine. Calmed her down, handed her to a friend of ours who had stopped and seen the wreck, and went to Heather. When I got to Heather, it was a tough scene. She wasn't breathing. She was slumped over. What happened was she had been slung from the impact all the way to the passenger side, which was really, the passenger door was nearly almost in the center console at this point. Just incredible impact from the force. And it had slung her, and the right side of her head impacted and hit the top part of the passenger door and knocked her back into her seat. And so when I got to her, she wasn't breathing. I held her head up so I could do mouth to mouth. And when I held her head up and kind of straightened her up, she started breathing with a very labored breath. And I held her there until paramedics came. They took over and ended up going to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, it was a pretty grave scene. We were told, I was told by the emergency room people, the doctor there, that they had run some coma tests, and she was as low as you could be on the coma scale, so she was, really out of it. They had also came close to determining that she was brain dead from the brain injury, but there was a little movement in one of her pupils when they shined a light, so she wasn't dead, but she was right on the edge. Talked to a neurosurgeon who told me that they have a rule, kind of a 30-30-30-10 rule. 30% of the people in that kind of injury would die at the scene. The next 30% would die in the hospital. The next 30% would probably spend the rest of their life in a vegetative state. And then the last 10% might have a little bit of rehabilitative progress, like being able to speak a little bit or recognize people or things like that. But it really didn't look good. The connectors in Heather's brain were torn because from the impact, her brain kind of twisted inside of her skull and created an incredible injury. So we were at UT Hospital. She was in a coma. We were there for a month. And then after that, we went to Patricia Neal Rehab Center, which is one of the finest rehab centers in the country. There they helped Heather learn how to walk again and talk again and use her memory and all the things that you just take for granted. Incredible things started happening. We had so many people that started praying for us. There was no surgery. There was nothing medically that they could do for Heather except keep the pain down, Of course, she was in a coma. She was completely out of it anyway. But people started praying for us. Specific things started being answers. The first MRI she had white spots on her brain. The doctor told me it was from not having enough oxygen in her brain from all those times she was struggling breathing right at the wreck site. We prayed for that specifically. The next MRI she had, those white spots were gone. It was just things like that just kept happening that were not medically explainable. And that happened in February of 2006. By October of 2006, after being told if she didn't die, she'd be in the vegetative state the rest of her life, in October of that very same year, she was cleared to drive. And it's just because of the prayers. You know, we heard from people like from Vietnam. We don't know people in Vietnam, but they sent us an email saying they were praying for us. A little old ladies Bible club in Iowa sent us a stack of cards saying they were praying for us. People all over the world prayed for us. And every doctor that we talked to, every therapist, everyone that we worked with during that time confirmed, they all told me, Tim, this is not medical. All of this is an act of God. God performed a miracle in this situation with Heather. It's amazing. And, we believe that. Not kinda. We really, really know that was the truth. We felt the prayers. We saw the answers coming just almost daily. And God is an incredible God. One of the names of God in the Bible is Jehovah Rapha, our healer. And he truly is a healer. And he truly did heal Heather from a terrific and horrific injury. We're believers in Jesus. We aren't religious people. I don't like religion, don't believe in religion. And I think a lot of people confuse religion with being a follower of Christ. We believe in Jesus. We trust him. We love him. Just because you're a follower of Jesus doesn't mean you're not going to go through hard times. In fact, many of you may have been through even more difficult times than we have. Maybe you've lost loved ones. Maybe you've just been through some incredible tragedy. We're not shielded from that, but because we love Jesus and because we walk hand in hand with him, he gets us through some of the most difficult times. There's still a joy there. Even during sad times, there's still an inner joy knowing that Jesus is with us. If you're watching this and you've thought about that before and wondered, what does it mean to follow Jesus? What does that mean? And I'm not talking about joining a church. I'm not talking about being part of a religious group. I'm talking about having a relationship with Jesus. I'd love to talk to you. Shoot an email, shoot a text, or message me on social media, and I'd love to get together with you and just kind of share what that means, because we want to share with others what we've experienced and how God got us through that. It's not our story, really. It's God's story, and we'd love to share that with you. So if you'd like to, just shoot me a message, and we'll get together and we'll talk. But hey, thanks again for watching. Many of you friends that are watching this prayed for us and helped us and did all kinds of things during that time and still check on us from time to time, even 15 years later. And we're very, very grateful for that. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. And we just hope that you and your family are all blessed. Thanks so much.